So, is everybody ready? All ready? All the technical things ready? Well, as I said, there's quite a wad of questions. I hope I'm going to be able to get through them all, but I may not be able to deal with, well, I'm sure I won't be able to deal with all of them at all exhaustively. I have gone through them all just very quickly, and there's a few that I think I won't be able to answer at all. Yeah? Not because they're intellectually difficult, but because they represent expressions of situations or even dilemmas on the part of certain people which are in themselves quite difficult, and to which there's really no short and easy solution or no very straightforward response or reply. Yeah? But nonetheless, I'll do my best. Yeah? Some of the questions, in fact I think most of the questions, are really quite straightforward. Yeah? Though even so they're not always particularly easy to answer. I mean, there's a fairly easy one to start with. At least I think it's fairly easy. We'll see. What do you think the parents' best approach would be to Christmas? E.g., perhaps emphasize the connection with the pagan winter solstice Yuletide festival. I'm not so sure about that pagan winter solstice Yuletide festival. It might confuse your child, if they were sort of, falling halfway between these two stools. The outside world is saying it's Christmas, and you're saying it's the pagan winter solstice. You can imagine them saying at school, "Oh, my mummy said." And teacher saying, "Don't be silly, dear, it's Christmas." So I'm not so sure about that. I mean, I get the spirit of this question, or rather the solution. But I think if you look at it from the child's point of view, what does Christmas really mean? Christmas means Christmas presents. So if a child, feels that all its friends, all its little friends, are getting presents, but he or she isn't, he or she is sure to feel, well, you've guessed it, left out. So I would suggest that at least you keep up the present giving part of it. But I don't think nowadays in Britain Christmas is especially observed as a religious festival, except by definitely Christian people, yeah? And they observe it, of course, by going to church. In fact, we do hear all sorts of complaints from religious people and others about the commercialization of Christmas. Yeah? So I think that there won't be any harm if you give your child presents at Christmas time, even if you do say, well, dear, they're not Christmas presents, they're pagan winter solstice Yuletide festival presents. I think the child won't mind very much, and instead of having these nativity scenes, well, you can do a little Yuletide bonfire or something of that sort, and just maybe steer the child away from anything which is specifically Christian. I don't think one needs to make too big a thing of it, going sort of all strongly anti-Christmas. I don't think that's really called for. I think you could even maybe stretch to Christmas pudding. I don't think it would be particularly un-Buddhistic, because you may remember that the Puritans in the time of Oliver Cromwell, they abolished Christmas pudding because they said it was definitely pagan and nothing to do with Christmas, and they were dead right. And Christmas trees, after all, we only had Christmas trees for the last 120, 130 years. They were introduced into Britain by Prince Albert, the Prince Consort, just over a century ago. And they're also of pagan origin. So no harm, having Christmas presents, and no harm, I think, with plum pudding, and no harm with even Christmas trees. You don't have to have stars of Bethlehem at the top. You can have a Dhamma Chakra if you like. So I think we just have to be a bit sensible about this and not be phonetically anti-Christmas in such a way that your child starts thinking, well, Christmas must be something really good and interesting, important, because parents are so much against it. Becomes a bit like TV then.